Hi, welcome to the Investment Blueprint. I'm your host, Raghu Kumar from Rain Platforms. The Investment Blueprint is a podcast where I interview traders, investors, quants, and finance professionals in the space of retail trading and investing with the goal of helping pass on their knowledge to you. Today, I interview Rajandran R, the founder of Market Calls and co-founder of Algo Mojo. Rajandran is a full-time derivatives trader. He's an expert in designing trading systems and trade execution modules for AmiBroker, Excel, PineScript, NinjaTrader, MetaTrader, and Python. Rajandran has been actively trading the markets since 2006, and Market Calls is a highly popular website, which I personally have visited many times in the past. Rajandran is also a mentor and mentors traders on trading system designing, market profile, order flow, and trade automation. Today, we talk about the systematic trading expert's journey over the years. So Rajandran, welcome to the podcast. Thanks for finally making this happen.
Pleasure to meet you, Raghu.
Awesome, man. This is what I usually start off each podcast with. Why don't you walk through your story? How did you kind of get introduced to the stock markets?
For me, it is more of a self journey. Thus far, I can say none of my friends or none of my relatives got introduced to markets. But I know, like one of my chacha, like my dad's brother, was into markets. He was into investing and kind of trading also. Like by that time, he was doing more into cash markets. So I got after my college, right? I completed my engineering during the year 2005 is what I completed, and then post that I got into telecom sector. Like most likely, I was trying to figure out after my job like what I should be doing. Right, so I thought like I should be doing something. So I chosen three fields. Most likely, like I started like maybe hacking, and then I thought like it could be cool. And then I start like maybe building websites and kind of blogs because that time it was quite popular. That is the way like 2.0 Web 2.0 kickstarted. I was quite impressed with that. Like anybody can go and design their blog if you know the code, right? So I self-taught codes, the C, Java is what throughout the college I studied, though I was from electronics and communication background. So I started building blogs. I thought like hacking is not for me because probably I need my computers are not good enough. I was having some dial-up modems or something like that back then in 2005. So obviously
Yeah.
I had to drop hacking. I know a little bit of cracking the software or something like that, but still I better thought like I need to give a pass to that. It's of no use. All those are legacy technologies, what I learned. So I totally give up, and then I thought like markets are cool. Like I should enter into the markets. So that is how my journey towards market started. I got little introduction from my chacha, like what is what, and then he introduced me to one of his friend who is a broker, and he taught me some basics of technical analysis like MACD, moving average. So for the very first time, I felt like I learned some rocket science, and then later on discovered that it is not a rocket science, like it is there for
Sure.
ages.
So how do you think your hacking background helps you as a trader?
Not much. Like it's
Okay.
totally irrelevant. What I learned is what very legacy things. Like now it's
Got it.
highly getting sophisticated.
Sure. Yeah.
It's a good thing. Like I
um,
had given up very early.
so you're not like a Mr. Robot, I guess. Yeah.
No,
um,
that's crazy thing. Like I mean, I am not
yeah,
even like 0.001% of what I want to achieve in that. Like
for sure. For sure. Yeah. So then you started Market Calls, right? So basically you talked about how you want to start a blog. Is that when
actually,
you started
when I
Market
started a
Calls?
blog, I was I thought like I should be generating a revenue of $1 per blog per day. So I thought like maybe I should build 100 blogs. At some point in time, I was having 47 blogs. Imagine that. And then I was meeting one of my college friend. They are into college startup. I mean, they are into educational startup. So they give me an idea, like, why don't you focus on one blog which could generate $100 per day, right? That is the idea I took from them, and then I scrapped all the blogs, and then that is where I was also having market calls. It was performing really good. A lot of people are asking questions on a daily basis. Almost a community has been started building around whatever I talk in the markets, right? And I am the one who was, whatever the softwares I'm testing, I'm keep on updating in my blogs. Any software that I'm testing, like let it be Falcon, Spider, or Ami Broker, MetaTrader, whatever, I am trying to figure it out, like how to deal with the markets, which software to use, how to use it. So that is where I scrapped all the blogs, and then I finally took only market calls along with me.
Got it. So you've always been very intrigued by software, right? Like these automated softwares and different types of softwares to help you with your trading. Where did that come from? Where do you think that curiosity came from?
See, during my childhood, I don't have access to computers. So I
Mm-hmm.
had seen computers only in my schools, colleges, but I don't have a personal access to the computers. The very first time I had a personal access to my computer is like during summer holidays. I went to uh, my cousin's place where they used to hang out with computers with games. So when after they completed finishing their games, I started taking out some textbooks, and then I'll try to create folders. And then so I learned some basics of computers. That's the very first time Windows also launched, like 1995 Windows. Imagine that. And then
Yeah, a long time ago.
my
Yeah.
my chacha, again, he used to run a computer center back in Tamil Nadu, in a remote place like in Sivagasi. That's
Mm-hmm.
my native also.
Okay.
So
Okay.
there I used to hang out right from the morning till they close their computer center. Like I'll be hanging out, and I'll be teaching myself. Like nobody will be there to teach me, but I try to go through the books. A lot of books are there to learn C,
Yeah.
C++, Java. So I
Yeah.
self-taught myself, and that is how my
Wow.
learning journey happened. Like
Amazing. That's really cool.
until today, it's more of an
Um,
self-learning only, mostly.
no, it's also very kind of sophisticated in a good way, right? It's kind of very kind of technical and in a good way, right? Obviously, I think if you want to get good at systematic trading, and kind of a no nonsense, no BS, resource, that's market calls for you. That's the way I've always kind of perceived it. And honestly, I'm not very technical, so a lot of that stuff generally goes over my head, right? But obviously, when I do want to be kind of well acquainted with that whole space, I do go to market
Mhm.
calls.
Okay.
How has market calls kind of evolved over the years?
Market calls, like back in 2007, right? Very few bloggers are there, like very few Indian bloggers who talk about markets. uh,
Hmm.
Among them, very few people who talk about systematic trading, and then trading softwares. Probably by that time I'm the only guy who was talking about the trading softwares, and particularly on Ami Broker. I got very much intrigued to Ami Broker because the reason is, during my college days, again, I was using a tool called MATLAB in my electronics and communication labs.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
which is kind of very similar to MATLAB. Like Ami Broker is quite similar to MATLAB because they also focus on time series analytics, and Ami Broker focus on time series analytics. You can build your own trading system, and it's both are vector level programming language. So it's very easy to understand Ami Broker based programming language. Very first time I felt like, okay, all my programming skills are not going for a toss. Like,
Right.
uh,
Right. Right.
because
Right.
back
Right.
then, like 2005, I got a job in telecom industry. I was working for
Right.
Aircel, right? So I
Right.
thought like, maybe my programming career is going to end here. That's what I thought. Like, but then Ami Broker, it kickstarted my actual career kickstarted with Ami Broker.
Sure. Yeah. No, it's the best way to kind of apply that knowledge, right, to the financial markets. And so, we'll talk about Algo Mojo as well now. So, right. So, I mean, you've been basically running market calls for, what, 13, 14 years now, 15 years.
Yes, yes.
And in that process, you also started to think about building Algo Mojo, right? And Algo Mojo basically, actually, maybe you can describe it for me. What exactly do you guys do with Algo Mojo?
You know what? The concept of Algo Mojo kickstarted with Upstocks, believe it or not.
Okay. Nice.
Probably by that time you're the one who called me and you said like we are launching APIs and would you guys like to test it out? So I
In
started
fact, I,
building my
I
very
did.
first.
Yeah. So I remember that conversation with you, a few years ago, when we kind of launched that API, and I probably did talk to you about that. Yeah.
I just went through the documentation. I thought like it's really cool to build an EXA application on top of that. So that is until then I done testing and then traded a couple of tools from Symphony FinTech. But then I haven't created one. Like for the very first time after on top of Upstocks, we are creating an EXE platform, and I call that as an Algo Studio. And then later on, it got. We thought like why not to build in web. That is where one of my partner, Mr. Gopal. So he's the one who architected Algo Mojo. And so we thought like building a cloud-based trading application which is capable of doing both manual trading as well as automated trading. So why not to build one for multiple brokers? So that is where the idea. It started with Upstocks, by the way. I'm really proud to say that.
Nice.
And then now we are serving multiple brokers. Like,
Awesome. So what exactly is it? Like, what are you guys trying to solve with Malaga Mojo?
so one is like right now there are many algo vendors. They are trying to solve with the EXE bridges, and some people they are trying to solve with inbuilt trading strategies. What we thought like we should serve the DIY community, like the traders who have their trading strategies, who want to build their trading strategies at a rapid, fast level. So why not create a super highway for them so that their journey to become an DIY automated algo trader becomes easier. That is where we thought like we should offer an kind of a trading a terminal which is capable of doing both manual and automated trading, and which is
Mm-hmm.
easy to connect to any of the platforms. Name it like let it be Ami Broker or let it be Excel or Python or TradingView or even Microsoft Power Automation or even Google Spreadsheet. So we thought like because these days every application talks to everything, right? So
Right.
thought like it is really
Yeah.
cool to build. So that is why we leapfrogged from EXE based application to web based
Web
application.
based. Sure. And that's the future, right? Obviously.
Yes.
Um, let's talk about Ami Broker and TradingView, right? Because you brought up both TradingView and Ami Broker right now. How does one actually use TradingView and Ami Broker to build a trading system or to help build a trading system?
Let me give you a perspective about the size of TradingView, right? So TradingView is
Yeah.
today. Last time I checked, like it is like 65th website in the world.
Yeah. It's
Imagine that.
massive. Yeah. Yeah. It's crazy.
So
Yeah.
a huge, crazy fan followership. People are worshiping TradingView like anything, and
Yeah.
so many strategies has been replicated. What are the strategies which are popular in the internet has been already replicated in TradingView. And but prior to that, it was Ami Broker in India because back then in 2000, this is 2013, we are having closely 1.5 lakhs traders using Ami Broker. But then now the number would have been blasted to something like 5 lakhs or something, probably.
Yeah. Yeah.
And more than that, I am seeing a lot of happenings in TradingView, and TradingView itself giving a lot of comfortness to the traders to build the strategy. Just like that, you can go and create. And moreover, programming wise, also Ami Broker and TradingView are very similar to that. If you know Ami Broker, probably coding with TradingView is quite easier. If you know TradingView PineScript, then coding in Ami Broker is also quite easier.
Sure. So what are the pros and cons to each?
Pros is like TradingView is more of an one-way communication. Like I can transmit orders, but I cannot know what is happening in my trading terminal. Whereas Ami Broker, it is a two-way communication. Like I can send a request to the broker, and I can read the response. I know what happened, whether the order has been fired, whether the order has been completed or rejected. So accordingly, I can manipulate my strategy accordingly.
Got
That
it.
is
Got it. Got
possible.
it.
Whereas in TradingView, it is not possible. But one good thing about TradingView is like it comes with an ease of use. Like you can access in any devices. You can control your algo application from your tablets, desktop, or even from iPads or iPhone. It doesn't matter. Right? It can be
Yeah.
used across any devices. You can control from any devices. So that is the beauty
Sure.
of TradingView itself. And moreover, it comes with an high quality data sets and probably
Exactly.
since the TradingView is also in cloud, Algo Mojo is also in cloud, the ease of use for the end customers will be very much easier. So they don't need to install any application, absolutely zero application. They can code live everything in cloud itself, and they can go live from the cloud itself.
Do you find your Algo Mojo users more using TradingView or Ami Broker, or both?
Initially, it was Ami Broker because I was quite familiar with Ami Broker. Many systematic traders, they know me, and then they started shifting. They started using Ami Broker, but right now the focus is mostly on both Ami Broker as well as TradingView, and most of the requests are, swirling from TradingView.
Okay. And it makes sense, right? I mean, as you mentioned, it's one of the most popular websites for trading.
Yes.
Let's talk about rules-based trading, right? You obviously have been around systematic trading since inception, right?
Not since inception,
for
but
someone,
since 2009 onwards. That's where I
okay,
started using Ami Broker. And since 2009 to 2014, I purely done trend following systems.
got it. No, so I've always associated you as being associated with systematic trading, but so for someone to kind of make that switch, right, from discretionary trading to rules-based trading, because for a lot of people out there, rules-based trading is just like this whole new world, and sometimes they just kind of
Absolutely.
complicate the whole situation, and it's like, maybe if there's an easier way to kind of ease into it, that would make their lives easier. So what are some general things to consider? If I'm a discretionary trader right now, and if I'm considering to kind of build my own rules-based trading system, how would I go about doing that?
Trust me, the switchover is not going to be easier because probably in discretionary trading, we would love over trading, but systematic trading is all about controlling your over tradings and emotions is all about. So one of the primary reason why I switched, I practiced discretionary trading. Like haphazardly, I started trading. Someday I'll trade in options, another day I'll try to invest in equity markets, and then some other day I'll try to do a short-term trading. Sometimes I'll jump into futures. Like I thought, like there is no methodology or process around it. Since I also worked in MNC companies like Nokia, Siemens Networks, and Ericsson, so they give a lot of importance to the process. So they made money on top of the rigid process. So I thought, like,
Right.
why not do something very systematic, like so that by that what we can do is like we can reduce the risk. So I seen like systematic trading is one of the way to reduce the risk, control the risk, and then I thought like once the risk is controlled, automatically the returns will be taken care. So that's one of the
Exactly.
primary reason I thought like systematic trading is. I never thought like systematic trading is a money making machine, because when every time I try to backtest a trend following system, it's mostly giving around 40 to 45% of win rate. I thought like we should try to live with that 40 to 45% of win rate, and then so most of the trend following systems, whatever I tested with respect to Indian markets or any other markets or any other trading symbol, mostly it narrows down to 40 to 45%. I thought like, okay, maybe we cannot build some cool technology. I mean, we cannot build some cool strategy around it, but ideally it's not going to predict anything because it doesn't have any intelligence. End of the day, it is just a simple mathematical formula. You give input, it's going to throw output. So you can use only mathematics as a tool to control risk, and thereby you can start building your whatever the market gives.
Sure. And you mentioned something interesting. So you started off as a trend follower, right? And
Yes,
eventually you
yes.
kind of started building, non-trend following systems. How did you start making that switch? Like what led to that?
No, back in 2012, one of my friend got introduced me to a concept called market profile and order flow.
Yep.
So that is where I thought like maybe maybe learning something new other than systematic trading could help me to solve some of the places why the markets are falling all of a sudden. Because when there are places where the trend following is taking a long, market started falling from there, and there are places where the trend following is giving a shot and it reverses exactly from there. Multiple times it keeps on happening. We are aware
Mm-hmm.
about that win rate is only 40%, but then I'm having a real curiosity, like why it is happening, what is the reason behind it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not able to understand the market price action, why it is happening. There are markets started with a bullish day and then ends with a bearish day. So even today, right? So today market almost down by Nifty futures was down by like opening like 150 points down, and then it totally blasted out and they
Reversed.
closed like
Yeah.
So these kind of things are very frequently happening. And then so I figured out an answer from Jim Dalton. So there are two people I would like to say. I had totally inspired from them. From a systematic trading point, I had a lot of inspiration from Howard Bandy, Mr. Howard Bandy. He's a professor, by the way. And then when it comes to discretionary trading, I had a lot of inspiration from Jim Dalton. I learned a lot from him. And even I have a chance to meet him personally in Bangkok, one of the traders conference.
Wow. Okay.
So, yeah.
So what did you learn from each of them? Like, what was it about them that inspired you?
What is the reason for a move in the markets? Why that particular price action is happening? Why the short covering is happening? So kind of a behavioral based traders behavior. We try to analyze the traders behavior, and then traders behavior, investors behavior, institutions behavior, based on the price action in the form of market profile. So we give more importance to price distribution. So that gives me a lot of screen time learning. I would say like kind of an experience-based learning, right? So when it comes to systematic trading, there are no experience-based learning. But when it comes to discretionary, we have to spend significant amount of time with screen time trying to understand each and every tiny piece of market moves. And so that is what it helps you to swim across, like surf across, like surfing the waves. Like so, we'll be surfing across sideways markets, trending markets, highly volatile markets, big gap up, gap down markets. So that gave me. I've been practicing even till today. Every on a daily basis, I try to understand why the move is happening. It's kind of a context based trading. More of a visual rule based trading. It is also rule based trading, but it is more of a visual rule based trading. And right now, what I'm trying to do is like trying to do a hybrid approach between systematic and discretionary, kind of on semi-discretionary kind of stuff. Semi-discretionary, semi-systematic style is what I'm practicing right now.
So out of curiosity, what's the benefit of a visual screen-based trading versus just like complete rules-based? Yeah.
When you're doing a complete rule-based trading, absolutely there are no intelligences there. Everything is taken care by the math. There is no experience surrounded with the trading system. But what I believe is like maybe if we want to add intelligence to the trading system, one is like experience-based trading gives a lot of intelligence. So where from your intelligence, you know that you would have seen the repeated patterns over a period of time. Like I've been observing market profile since 2012 onwards, market profile and order flow. So it's almost now 9 years. So that had given me an ample amount of screen time, when to do what kind of things. Like so, when the trend following could fail, and obviously there are still places it's been puzzling to me. Like 30-40% of the places still market still puzzling me. And maybe we are humans; we are not designed to understand every market move.
No, for sure. No, so I was reading someone's tweet recently, an algorithmic trader, and he actually referenced the same idea, right? Like he actually runs a fully rules-based system, but he says you need to spend ample time looking at the screen, observing the markets, right? Because only then can you actually, react to your algorithm when it doesn't work, right? Otherwise, you're not going to be proactive. You're going to be too reactive, and you're going to be late to the game, kind of situation. So I totally agree there, right? When it comes to these different types of strategies, right? Trend following, trend reversal, and then seasonal trading. I think you referenced this on your blog, I believe. If a retail trader is looking to kind of incorporate some sort of a systematic strategy of some sort, what type of strategy should they look at generally? Initially,
let me talk about trend following a little bit, because trend following is not everyone's cup of tea. People at times think like trend following is easy, but it is not, because there are times it will be going for an crazy drawdown based scenarios. People think that drawdown is one time thing, but drawdown is more of a distribution. It's going to happen. It's going to hit every now and then, because drawdown is more of a distribution. So I would say, like, if you are a beginner, then you should think 1,000 times whether you want to do a trend following or not. Because I had done a trend following for almost 5+ years. I had done trend following. I lived only with trend following. And probably mean reversion, yes, people can adapt, particularly if they are looking for a trend reversal, because more or less ultimate returns are going to be there only in the trend following. Mean reversion is also going to generate almost similar returns, but I would say the drawdown is pretty easy to pass through. Tighter risk managements are possible with mean reversion based trading systems, whereas trend following, it's very difficult to go with a tighter risk management rules. So I use order flow for mean reversion based trading systems. So it's more of a kind of a price action combined with volume based mean reversion patterns, where tighter risk managements are possible. Even still, it is more of a visual thing only. But I also tested various. I also tested and then built various mean reversion trading systems also. So more or less, the drawdowns are controllable with mean reversion based trading systems. And
Got
seasonal
it.
trading systems, again, is not for everyone, but mostly for part-time
Yeah.
traders who are looking for who want to reduce their screen time, basically. And I took a lot of inspiration from an Indian trader, Mr. Kora Reddy. Probably, I'm not sure whether you are aware or
I
not.
have.
He's
Yes,
quite
yes, yes,
popular,
yes, yes, yes.
and I had a lot of inspiration from him when it comes to building seasonal trading system. In fact, he have a book on high profitable trading patterns. So very interesting book, a brutal book for systematic traders. Even if you're a systematic trader, you
Okay.
should start with that book. Any trader, I would recommend
Wow.
you should start with that book and later on extend to Howard by these books.
Cool. No, so we'll include that information in the description of the episode. Let's talk about risk management. You kind of alluded to that really quickly, right? One of the cool things about you is you get to kind of see the behavior of a lot of your users, I'm sure, right, in some capacity,
Yes.
and you can kind of see, generally what works and what doesn't work. And when it comes to risk management, right, what do you think? What's the one or two things, major things that people just kind of completely overlook when they're getting into trading?
Absolutely. People don't care much about drawdown and they focus only on how much money I will get. That is what majority of the traders like. So yes, some traders, they focus on the risk, but majority of the traders who I've met, their initial eyeballs are only towards the returns only. So I guess that is totally overlooked, and the people should start respecting the drawdowns. And as I said, the drawdowns are not a number. People see drawdown as a number. They don't.
Yeah.
What they forget to
It's
see
like
is
max
it is more of
drawdown or
a number.
whatnot. Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah. No, so when you talk about how drawdown is a distribution, can you elaborate on that?
So, for example, when you're talking about trend following systems, right? So it probably every 3 months once it goes for a drawdown phase. Sometimes the drawdown will be smaller drawdowns. Sometimes it will be a bigger drawdowns. So imagine your strategy is going for every 3 months. It is going for an mild drawdown from the peak, and then it is recovering back. So sometimes the drawdowns will be like 2 months of drawdown. Sometimes it will be like 3 months. Sometimes it could be going for 4 months. There are one at some point in time I have to live through a 7 months of drawdown. So it's kind of a painful thing to. Those are the phases like we'll be feeling like, am I really doing a good job or what? Should I have to tweak my algo? Should I have to change my time frame? Or should I
Yeah.
have to stop trading this? Like all those things will
Yeah.
crazy things will be going in our mind. Like even though
For
people
sure.
say like algo is totally emotionless,
No, no,
still
no, no.
the trader is
That's
watching in the back.
right, right. And in fact, this is the kind of situation that algos can, if there was one situation where they can really backfire psychologically, this is it, right? It's when you're so used to something being on autopilot and then
Mhm.
you realize it's not working and you start panicking. It's like, what do I do now? What do I do now? But essentially what you're saying is traders do not think about drawdown enough, right?
So once a proper system validation is done, once proper walk-forward testing and then Monte Carlo analysis, kind of proper system validation is done, uh, maybe that is where our belief would get created on the results. And moreover, trying to test under different market conditions. Some people, many beginners I see, like they used to backtest only for 6 months or 1 year. So whereas that particular market would have been a one-sided markets, so they would get thrilled with the results. Of course, one should at least they try to cover up at least some 4 to 5 years bare minimum. It could be better. More the data, better the uh, belief that you might be having with the data. I mean, with your trading system.
Sure. Yeah, it makes sense. You've already cited some resources, which we will include, but just generally, if you had to kind of name a few resources for people to kind of reference to get started with systematic trading, what would they be?
Probably the very first thing, as I said, every system trader has to cross first with the high profitable trading patterns from Mr. Kora Reddy. And the second thing is from my like Mr. Howard Bandy. From him, I took a lot of inspiration. A lot of YouTube videos are there about Howard Bandy's interview on systematic trading. So I think his very first book on quantitative trading systems. It's a beginner for every trader who want to kickstart with what is a mean reversion system, what is a trend following, what is a drawdown, what is the equity curve. So right from the scratch, if somebody want to start systematic trading, then obviously Howard Bandy books. In fact, he also the entire book itself written on top of AMI broker based tools. So even if you are an AMI broker user, and if you are also going to use, if you're going to take the quantitative trading systems from Howard Bandy, so it's an I would say like it's a probably your learning curve to learn AMI broker is going to get very interesting.
Got it, got it. And of course, market calls as well. Right. So I'm just gonna mention that really
No,
quickly.
these days I stopped.
You know,
I reduced my blogging content. The reason is
no, but you're
most.
still posting content. I was there today and I saw that you published some things a couple of days ago.
Yeah, but the
And
frequency has been came down a lot because most of the people
sure.
these days they started moving towards microblogging platforms, Twitter, Telegram, and then WhatsApp. So communities has been not broader now. They have been living like a nuclear family these days. Traders have started living like nuclear families, and then earlier it
That's
was
true.
like
That's actually very true.
everybody knows every blogger in the country, but
Right.
now, moreover, people started focusing towards YouTube-based contents. So
That's
I
right.
stopped reducing my.
That's right.
Uh, but still, once in a while, if I find something very interesting, I do write about it.
Sure. Yeah. And yeah, so we'll include all that information. The second last question here, Rajandran, right? So obviously, there's been a lot of news with algo trading in India and things like that, right? Where do you think algo trading is headed in India over the next few years?
So I think regulation is going to happen. That is for sure. And
Yeah.
maybe most of the people have to comply with what SEBI is coming up with any sort of new regulation. We don't have any other choice also. And
Yeah.
it's better to get comply and then obey to their standards. And if research analyst is required, then let's go and do that. And what I'm seeing is like API is going to stand here because it's a new age technology, and probably it
Yeah.
is a new style of business for the brokers also. So it's a way
Right.
brokers can showcase themselves as a technology rather than as a traditional business. I'm sure that that's going to change a lot because internationally also it's been changing. I hope SEBI officials might be recognizing those things and they will allow some sort of an concern for the algo traders, individual algo traders and algo vendors to flourish. And then they probably what is required here is a strong habit need to be cultivated, and strong ethics need to be in place so that things will be fine for the regulators as well as for the traders as well.
Yeah, ultimately, the way I look at the whole thing is you want to do what's the right thing to do, right? And I think generally, when it comes to API based trading, the intent is correct, right? It's not like, there's a, nefarious intent here. People are looking to make their trading more seamless, automated if possible. And if you need to introduce some checks and balances, so that's fine. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that, right?
Yeah,
As
obviously.
long as it protects, if it protects the retail trader, but also allows them to do what they need to do to succeed, right? Because trading is so difficult as it is. That's the way I look at it. So we have certain tools available. People like you have spent so much time learning about API based trading, right? And then there's all the software that enables API based trading. That's only benefiting the end user. No one is forcing anybody to do anything. So, anyways, those are my 2 cents. Last question for you, Rajendra, because I can keep talking about this. But last question for you today. This is what I end every podcast with. What are your goals for yourself and for your businesses over the next 5-10 years?
I don't invest in companies, so I do all my investment in my company. Like I don't invest in any
Yeah.
other
Yeah.
equity. Yeah.
Right.
So since we are from the startup industry here and more into fintech business, so we would like to expand our horizon to the brokers. So we are looking into more of a B2B in the next 5 to 10 years. And right now, we also one thing we would like to solve here. Like there are a lot of, as I said, when it comes to algorithmic trading, like what we need is a super highway. Like right now, what we are having in this industry is like kind of a road which is bumpy, which is like it's not smooth, by the way. So I believe
Yeah.
like what we need to give is the ultimate aim is to bring an smoother algo trading experience to the users, and that is one of the core thing which is there in my heart. And then it's close to my heart, like trying
Yeah.
to bring in smoother and cheaper and better trading experience to the users, so that anybody can kickstart their algorithmic trading with their own, if they have then any ideas. So and we're also trying to strive to get into the B2B business as well. So we are also thinking of building a back office, because my I mean my another partner, right? So he's also ex Thomson Reuters, and he's the
Hmm.
one who built the back office. Probably you would have seen that bo.rksv.in.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah.
It's been built by him, and the
Oh,
PO
okay.
document.
I didn't know that. Very cool. Okay. Yeah. That's amazing.
So
Yeah. So you guys have a very clear intent and mission with your businesses, right? So that's amazing. All the luck to you, Rajandran. I'm sure you'll do very well. And thanks for the podcast interview. What I love about these episodes is I get to learn a lot personally. So I really
likewise,
enjoyed learning a lot about your experience and just systematic trading in general. And thank you so much.
thank you, Raghu, for giving me an opportunity to talk in your podcast. Thank you.
Thanks.